This lesson is about the conservation of mechanical energy. Let's start talking about the types of mechanical energy, then what is a conservative force, and the conservation of mechanical energy theorem. Okay, so let's remember what are the types of mechanical energy we have. We have three types basically: the kinetic energy, the gravitational potential energy, and the elastic potential energy. Now, the kinetic energy is associated with the movement, so it depends on the frame of reference. We can express the kinetic energy as half of the mass times the velocity squared. The gravitational potential energy is associated with gravity and the position of an object, and we usually use Earth as our reference. We can express the gravitational potential energy as the mass times the gravity acceleration times the height of the object. The elastic potential energy is the potential energy stored in a spring, and we express this energy using the Hooke's law. In this case here, the elastic potential energy is expressed by half of the constant of the spring times the displacement squared. Before talking about the conservation of mechanical energy, let's talk about the conservative forces. So a conservative force is one for which work done by or against it depends only on the starting and ending points of a motion and not on the path taken. In other words, we have that these types of forces does not depend on the path taken. For example, the potential energy. It doesn't matter the path of the object here, only the initial and ending positions. A type of a non-conservative force is the thermal energy. That's the heat transferred related to thermal energy. Let's go through now the conservation of mechanical energy. Well, let's remember the work energy theorem first. This theorem tells us that the net work done by a system is the same as the variation in kinetic energy. Let's assume that our system deals only with conservative forces. Therefore, the net work done by the system is a conservative work, and also that all this work is done by the variation potential energy. By this theorem here and with these assumptions, we can easily say that the variation in kinetic energy actually is the same as the variation in potential energy, but with a negative sign. In other words, if you have a fixed total energy in a system, if you increase the kinetic energy, you have to decrease the potential energy, and vice versa. Another way to express the same formula is like this. So we have that the summation of the kinetic and potential energy in state 1 is the same as the kinetic energy plus the potential energy in state 2. Alright, let's practice a little bit now. So we have a trolley of mass m that travels a roller coaster whose sections B, C, D is an arc of circumference of radius r. If the trolley is released from rest at A from a height of 1.25 r, determine the velocity of the trolley at point C. Let's neglect friction for this example. Well, we can just use the conservation of mechanical energy theorem for this problem. We have the kinetic plus potential energy at A is the same as kinetic plus potential energy at C. Also, we know that the trolley here it's released from rest, so we don't have any kinetic energy at A. We also know that the height at A is 1.25 r, and the height at C is just r. We have this formula here. We can just isolate the velocity at C, and then we get that the velocity of the trolley at point C is the square root of 0.5 times the gravity times r. Okay, so now it's your turn. So what would be the velocities of the trolley at points B and D if they are at a height of 0.25 r? Do your calculations and comment in the comment sections your answers.
Hope you guys like this video. Make your geek happy. Subscribe to our channel.